I run out the room because now I'm disgusted. I'm completely irate at this point. And I go to the front desk and they were like, we're going to move you immediately. And she was like, housekeeping didn't see any. I was like, yeah, because when they went into the room, it was daylight and the lights were on. When they left the room, they turned the lights off. But even still, I don't believe housekeeping didn't see anything, because now looking back at everything, that cabinet that looked like it had that water damage, all those roaches were surrounded around that area. So they were, to me, they were coming out of that area, right? Um, so she was like, we're gonna move you, but we can only move you for the night. We'll have to figure something out tomorrow. So I moved from that room. I go to the next room, which is a nicer room, and it doesn't have a cabinet in the bathroom. I'm doing the inspections. The room, all the rooms look dated, right? But it didn't have that cabinet. It didn't have that wet wood smell that, that's like the room had been flooded. And I'm like, it is what it is. Well, guess what? During the daytime on the island, it's hot. But at night, you're on the water and it's cold. So I'm trying to figure out how to turn on the heat. There's no heat. They don't have heat. After a few hours, I called the front desk because I'm freezing. And they're like, oh, we don't have heat. There's some extra blankets. So between wearing double pair of wearing my tights and sweats, socks and a sweatshirt, the blanket that was on the bed and an extra blanket, and I still froze that night. So I knew I was going to leave the hotel, because I'm going to have to move again. You said you were going to move me. I froze. I've already had all these issues. And for my price point, I'm upset because I should not. This feels like a Motel 6. Now, the food was great, but this feels like a Motel 6. And I should not be having these issues. So that morning, I got on Booking. I found a hotel that I was going to move to. I sent them an email with all of my complaints and all of my issues. And the girl had already told me come back after breakfast the next day to see where they were going to move me, but I knew I was going to leave the hotel. The whole roaches thing just like creeped me out. And I'm like, I'm paying a lot of money to not be happy. And I can't even leave this hotel and walk to the beach because it's advertised as beachfront, but it's only beach view. It's not beachfront. So I still have no access to the beach unless I walk 20 minutes down a mountain or 20 minutes up a mountain. Yeah. So I have my reservation, my new reservation, which is in Costa Deje at the H10 Hotel. I had already sent them an email of the messages on Booking of all the issues I've had, having to move. Yes, okay, yes, I needed to move, but I was gonna have to move again. It was just too many negatives, right? So I sent that morning, and I never heard back, and I didn't even go back up there to speak to them until like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, wanting to give them a chance to respond to me. But the girl did say come back after breakfast, and I didn't want the day to go on too long because I knew I was going to have to go to the other hotel. I go to the front desk. The manager comes out, Justine. I don't know her last name. It's like Justine L. She came out saying she would comp me 2 of my night stays. They were going to upgrade my room. She was apologetic. I honestly believed her. And she was like, well, come and check out the room. But if you don't like the room, if you don't like the upgraded room and you don't feel comfortable staying here, then you don't have to worry about the stay. But she was like, you'll be getting 2 nights free and you'll be getting an upgraded stay. I go check out the room. The room is better, but for upgraded and the price point, it's still old and it's still dated. But I had made friends, at breakfast that morning, the Black mother and daughter that I saw, and we literally were the only 3 Black people in that hotel up until like the day after Christmas, but it was just, and those were just men, but we were the only 3 Black people there. So I'm like, okay, the room is nice. It's a better view. It's nicer. It's a better view. And she explained how where that room was positioned, how the sun came in, even though that they don't have heating, the room stayed hot. And the room was really hot. you know, and actually the entire stay, that room was warmer, you know, so with the extra blankets, it wasn't a bad vibe, you know. Um, so I was like, okay, well, if I stay, I'm saving money, because if I go to the other hotel, which still would have been cheaper for what they were going to refund me, but I'm like, it would be cost effective to just stay, you know. And I met some people, you know, and I feel uncomfortable because everything was white. And when I say everything was white, as far as the people, so it was just nice meeting some black people. I'm like, okay, and I'm only gonna have to pay for 2 nights of a stay. But the next day I noticed I haven't received anything other than the room, right? I haven't received anything in writing. And I gave them time. I waited till the next day, but I didn't want it to go on too long. So I sent a message on Booking, and I'm asking like, hey, when can I expect? And at this point, I'm still thinking everything's honorable. You know, I'm not thinking that I got hustled. And I'm like, when can I? But I wanted it in writing because I had nothing in writing. I'm like, when can I expect, you know, my refund for staying? And she was like, Miss Williams, we never told you. We told you if you stayed, you wouldn't get a refund. Bitch. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. But she was like, we told you wouldn't get, I told you wouldn't get a refund. We never had the conversation. Really, it was her trying to appease me to keep me to stay. We never had in depth about if I didn't stay, blase, blase, or if I stayed, you would forfeit what we would refund you. Like, I got scammed. And what one of the ladies that I met there, they were saying they believe she intended to honor everything she promised me, but when she gave me that room, she was probably told she couldn't give me anything else. But all of that should have been in writing. And I should have said, but I didn't think to, you know, everything was moving so fast. I didn't think to say, hey, before I stay, put that in writing. I don't know. But staying there was a horrible experience, especially for the price point. And I will say this, I did my research. They have like thousands of great reviews, but if you actually read the reviews, outside, I didn't see any others saying about bugs, and I still wonder how I ended up with that room with the roaches. And I almost feel like, did you give the black girl that shitty room? You know? But none of them said anything about bugs. But they all had different issues. Oh, this could be better, or that could be better, which were some of the same complaints, right? But they did gave like 10 stars because everything else was good. But I had all my things were compounded at the same time. And another thing to take into consideration, I was one of the youngest people at this hotel. And that's not something that people advertise, but it should have been. And I saw that in one of the reviews. They were like, this should be marketed as a senior center. It should have been marketed as a senior center. These people were old enough to be my grandparents. You know, it was really, had I not met the mother and daughter, I don't know what I would have done, because being there was an isolating experience. And I wouldn't tell anyone ever to stay in a Barceló Tenerife, but I'll never do another Barceló. So within 24 hours, less than 24 hours, I moved 3 times. I dealt with roaches, a horrible odor in the room, Wi-Fi not working, and toilet issues within 24 hours. Management making promises that they did not uphold. And I will say, I saw, and I always look for, especially on TikTok, like black creators that stay somewhere. I personally believe, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this video, right? I'm going to start doing videos of hotels I stayed in, because, and just do me talking into the camera, because I feel like people are only showing us the beautiful clips, you know, and I don't know if they're getting paid or if they're getting comped rooms, because there is no way. I saw a few videos from black creators highlighting that hotel, and even if I didn't have that room, That hotel looked nothing like those videos I saw. So they're extremely editing those videos, and they're only showing you the pretty parts. And yes, the country is beautiful, it's picturesque. So it is easy to get content and just show a clip here or a clip there and make it just seem wonderful. But it wasn't. What they need to do, and I don't want to tell people what they need to do, but what they need to do is shut that place down for a season and remodel, or start shutting down floors and remodeling, because that, for $2,300, I shouldn't have any of those issues. I shouldn't have had any of those issues for that price point. And these people kind of just played in my face. But at the same time, I need content creators to start being honest about their reviews. You went, and I guess if you're getting a free room, you're going to say what you need to say, and you're going to do clips that you need to clip. But that place wasn't pleasant. Apart from the hotel, the guests, and not the staff were amazing. I will say that. There was only one issue I'm going to do in a separate video, situation with staff. But outside of that, the staff were great, and they were helpful, and they were friendly. But the other people visiting that establishment, it's almost like they never seen a Black person in that environment before. And I'm American. We go into every environment, but there was the hostility that I experienced there. I will never go back to Tenerife, just off of that alone. So for anyone who wants to visit Tenerife, the Santiago area is for the elderly. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's where you want to be. But it's for the elderly. It's rocky. It's not beachfront. Even though the photos that you'll see will make you think that you can just walk out of your room into the beach. That is not what it is. I would not endorse the Barceló Santiago. From what I've seen from being there, I would do Costa Adeje. I think that area has more of a vibe. It has a younger vibe. It has a younger vibe and a family vibe, but not an AARP vibe. The highlight for the hotel and even the area itself was the food. I did not have one bad meal while I was there. The hotel food was great. The restaurant food in the area and even in Costa Adeje was great. But I was so stressed out after dealing with all of that, I didn't even feel like going to the beach, and I was hyper aware of my Blackness just from the hostility I was receiving. I did not feel comfortable getting in the water. And there are a few stories that I'm going to tell just with how the other patrons were acting. I don't want to go on vacation and feel like I need to put on my armor. And that's what I felt like there. But even at Costa Adeje, there was a little more mix. I still just felt on guard. So no, and I've been in Spain before, but I've never been to Tenerife. I've never been to the Canary Islands, and I'm never going. I will go back to Spain, but I'm never going back to the Canary Islands. I don't spend my money to be in those type of spaces, and I don't spend my money to be hustled from these establishments. And you really can't tell off of the reviews. So join me for this new series. Today I'm in Warsaw. I'm at the Westin, and Warsaw has been a vibe, and the Westin has been great. And that'll be my next review, hotel review. And join me on this journey. I stayed here so you don't have to guess. If I could give this hotel 1 star, actually I can't give it 1 star. But if I could give this hotel a negative star, I would. I wouldn't tell the Barceló Santiago. I would not recommend, and I'll give it 2 thumbs down.